Vocals. If you're a DJ, then you know that having the right one or ones is a key to a successful set. Regardless of genre, at the right place and right time, upon a dance floor, if you're able to gather everyone together to sing along, then you're part of a magic moment. Even a breakaway from a predominantly instrumental set has incredible vibes. Tonight, we're fortunate enough to sesh with a modern Canadian talent who has been delivering the goods when it comes to these magic moments I'm talking about, and we're together right now, and nearly 14 feet deep in the utility room with MKLA. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi.
Jella.
MKLA.
What's happening?
Doing utility room with you tonight?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. What you drinking? You're drinking some Coke.
I'm drinking some Coke Zero.
Coke Zero.
Yeah, who just got the dopest plug ever for free. I've got a bunch of awesome questions because
I'm really stoked.
Super curious.
I'm actually really stoked to talk about music because, yeah.
I know nothing about how you got started, where you came from, how
That's interesting
you're-
because I feel like we know each other.
But
we do.
And we've never had this conversation. And the idea of sitting down together was actually, it's rather fresh. It's like a week and a half ago.
Let's go.
We talked about it.
Let's go.
And when as soon as we started getting into it, I was like, we have to stop talking. We can't talk anymore.
Let's stop talking. Let's stop being friends for like the rest of the week and like.
It was it's a little bit like that, yeah.
I'm down. I mean, but I talk about music. I'm so obsessed with music. I talk about it constantly. There's tons to talk about. So let's do it.
What were you looking for when you first started looking for music?
First started looking for music?
What were you looking for?
Wow, that is actually such a deep question. What was I looking for when I first started looking for music? Wow. The first thing that comes to my mind, besides connecting with people, is having a purpose and being totally myself. Having a space, I think, in this world to just be completely myself and explore that artistically, because I am such a diehard artist. Like, I have to be an artist. So with music, I feel like it was being able to just be so vulnerable and create some artistic thing you can share with people, which I guess that's it. Connecting with people. Honestly, that is what it is, connecting with people.
Did you feel like you were like alone? Did you have a lot of friends? Was everyone doing the same type of music quest that you were doing, or was this something that was independent?
I guess it depends on like when you consider I started music. So I guess I started playing music. Okay, wait, how far back do we want to go? Do we want to start in the last like 5 years or forever?
I'm actually thinking about how when you first
professionally?
How about this? Where were you and what were you doing when you first knew that you wanted to sing in front of people?
I have this specific memory from when I was like, I can't even place an age on it. I want to feel like maybe I was 5 or something when I imagined myself on stage and I saw myself singing. And that's a memory that I recall constantly. But I'm even like, did I make that up? Like, I don't really know. But I had this desire when I was really little. And I think it's because my family, like my grandfathers actually were both very into music.
On both sides of the family?
On both sides, yeah. So on my mom's side, my grandpa Joe, I love saying this, but he literally named like all of his kids after like Italian singers because he just loves music so much. And he's very Italian, so he loves Italian stuff. He loves Italian music. And my grandpa on my dad's side, so my dad's dad, he was a singer in high school, so he was one of the first people that ever supported me with music, actually, which I do remember and I do appreciate, because, like, when you're a kid, you have something that you enjoy doing, and there is something creative, and I feel like as an adult, it's about recognizing what that kid finds interesting. Is it drawing? Is it playing games, solving things? Is it music? And for me, I guess I always sang or just loved music, and my elders like noticed that and kind of just like inspired me. But I was very shy until I came to Canada because I grew up in Arkansas. So I don't know if you know that.
No, I know. Like I said, I know nothing, but it's a little surprising. I just I just
So I grew up
assumed
in
that I don't know
Arkansas.
why I assumed. I don't know what gave me the idea, but like Canadian.
I am Canadian.
Right, clearly.
I've been here for 10 years now.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's enough time.
Yeah, it's a
Sure.
lot of time. 7 years.
It's a generation.
Yeah, it's a whole generation.
Right,
I think
of
about
course.
that too.
Yeah.
But so I grew up in Arkansas, and then I was very shy, and then I came here and I went to school for photography and creative direction, and then I knew though, on the topic of like knowing what you wanted to do, I knew if I came to Canada, I would do music. And that was one of my first knowing senses. Like I knew I would connect with music when I moved back to Toronto.
What was giving that fuel? What was driving that?
Actually, like, don't know. I feel like everyone has a creative thing or something inside of them, which is what we call purpose or whatever, that something draws you to the topic or the activity, and you just always want to kind of do that thing, or you think about it constantly. And I just always thought about music. Even though I went to school for photography, which was my like backup plan, I was like, you have to be practical. Even though photography is not practical, but like, I just knew that like somewhere inside of me, I had to do music, but it would take some emotional growth, I think, to be able to be confident enough to do music. And like, I eventually got there like a few years ago. I got confident.
The backup plan. Was that from family encouragement? Was it something that you were...
I think it was sort of family. It was kind of being in a family where people work hard for what they get. Like, no one's given anything, but like you have to work hard to become successful. There was a feeling of like, if you do music, how could you possibly be successful? Because it's not in your immediate practicality. But like photography, to me, I saw a business model. So I was like, oh, you take pictures that are great, people connect with you, people like my pictures, that's business. But like music, it seemed like a little bit more of like, I want to say freestyle or like wild card, more chaotic. Like you don't know if you're going to get something good, but then you might get something great, and then it's going to be huge.
Do you mean actual output, or do you mean like whatever you do in the form of remuneration that comes your way, like getting paid for what it is that you've done?
I guess it's like being able to create something that's like not only technically good enough, but also like energetically tapped in, because there is a sense of energy on things. If you create something and you know it's good and you feel great when you're making it, chances are like other people are going to feel that same way. So it's kind of like being able, I guess, like connecting with that feeling, which I guess comes full circle to like, I mean, it took me like literally till like 3 years ago to get the confidence to be able to create something confidently and energetically good, which creates good work. Which with music, I mean, it's so hard to say if you're going to be energetically in a zone to create something good or not. So you have to like be in that zone. I kind of went on a tangent.
No,
but like
it's perfect, obviously.
It's hit or miss. That's why I had
I'm getting
backup
involved.
plan.
I mean, I'm looking. Sometimes I feel like when I'm speaking.
You're like, true.
I'm speaking with someone. I see the words coming out. They're three-dimensional.
See the story.
And
I'm putting the story together.
It's like a beautiful mind almost for a sec with your words, and obviously because I've got a series of questions that I try and move the
I
conversation.
know. I'm like adding to that.
So that's right, and then a transformation takes place where I'm like, well, wait a second, maybe that direction that I had planned isn't the right direction. Maybe we should be going this way. You're a really spiritual person.
The journey. Yes, I am super spiritual. It's true.
Do you find that your decisions are made based, like, are you following a lot of gut feelings when you're doing what you're doing?
I honestly am at the point to where I feel like if I don't listen to that, then I'm making a mistake. Like if I don't listen to what what my intuition says, which I have learned that my intuition is the first thought I get. The first thought I get about something is kind of like, do I go left or right? And it's like Waze it's like Google Maps telling you go left. And I get that instinct. And it's whether or not I follow that. And like following that instinct is spirituality for me. So I feel like when you follow that feeling, that's just you connect. Spirituality is just being connected to like the source of things, or like your intuition, really. But yeah, is that noise distracting?
A little.
I know, we're such sonic people.
Yeah, right away. You saw my eyes. I'm like, the fuck is that sound? What?
We're sonic, like we can't help it. Should we close the window?
No.
Is it closed?
Rob's running the mics. He's already looked at me. He's like, no one can hear us.
You're like, this is fine.
Oh yeah, I mean, which is great. I mean.
No, but we're sonic. That's the thing. That's our superpower. We hear sounds.
Do you think being around electronic music as the primary music, dance music, that's what we listen to?
I have a problem with the word electronic music because everything is electronic if it's going through the internet, isn't it? Everything's electronic.
If it's going through the internet, I thought you were about to say something about compression or
if it's being recorded in the computer, it's electronic. That
right.
is
Okay.
electrical.
So yeah, I agree.
So
yeah.
I have a hard time with the word electronic music. I think everything is electronic music. Even fucking folk music and like, sorry, swearing.
No, you can.
But like,
you can swear away. Swear away. What?
I feel like I realize that dance music is what inspires me, like no other music. Dance music, honestly, any vocal on top of dance music makes me feel something. And I don't even fully know what dance music means. I just know that it has a sound that I can like relate to. I don't know if it's 4 on the floor or like whatever those specific technical things are, but dance music seems to make people want to dance, and it makes me want to dance. And I feel like that's what I like. I like dance music.
So is that what we should be calling it then? It's just dance music?
What are you talking about when you say electronic?
For a second, I wanted to say
dance music?
I wanted to say EDM for a second.
Electronic dance music. So it's just dance music.
I liked the title when I think about it.
E? Because it's E?
I like E. I like the title.
Electronic dance music, EDM, dance
I like it.
Does make you feel like you're doing E sometimes, because it is so, like, that's the point of dance music. It's supposed to make you feel euphoric. That's why it's so good. That's why I love dance music, because it's euphoric.
So when you've got that idea of what you're talking about, with an instrumental, and then
Euphoria?
add a powerhouse like yourself onto the track that's singing on top of it, then what happens then? It's the magic moment that I was talking about.
There's like,
is this
your intuition?
Is this how and why for electronic music for you, for dance music? Is this how and why? Is this the reason?
What's the reason?
what it is that you were just talking about?
I guess like that feeling of euphoria. Yeah. When you make a really good dance song, you know it because you just feel like you want to move to it. And you feel like you're not judging it anymore. And instead of being like a normal person, in our minds, we are very analytical and very judgmental. And that's not a negative thing. It's just we look at things, we observe them, and we judge them. And that's just what we do. So I feel like when I'm making a dance song and like I've really connected to what is the high for me, which is like a euphoric feeling, like that feels like I'm creating something artistic and like powerful and spiritual, because I'm no longer analyzing it and judging it. Like I'm creating something that just feels organically great, like a tree. Like you're not supposed to hate on a tree. Like you feel good about a tree when you see it. Like you're like, yes, I love you. You're cool.
The most important question I can ask tonight is, what is your favorite tree?
My favorite tree.
Do you have a favorite
I
tree?
could. I could only because the story is really cute, but it's up to you if you want to know it.
Do you want to? Is this important right now? I mean, we can
I
talk
don't
about
know.
it.
It's up to you.
No, it's not. It's utility room with
Okay.
Michaela, not utility room with Jello.
Okay, I'll just say that, like, I think birch trees are amazing only because the story I have within my family is that on my Oma side, so she's from, like, Germany, Czech side of things, and now we're talking, like, a few generations before. So that's when, like, the world was changing. There was a lot of wars happening and stuff. So one of her brothers was actually in a war that was happening around like the 40s or something. And anyways, the cuteness of my favorite tree is that he would take pieces of birch tree. So birch tree is like a tree that flakes off white pieces.
Okay.
And he would write messages on there and paint little pictures and send it to his wife.
It's like paper. The part that comes off
Yeah.
is very paper-esque,
He would
right?
send it to her when he was in the middle of like nowhere in a war and then send that to her.
How did that get mailed?
I don't know, but I love it.
You're in the middle of nowhere, but somehow there's
I love that story.
there's a post box, man.
That's beautiful. That's romantic.
Drop the piece of birch in there.
That is romantic.
It is. It's crazy.
That's paper. That's poetry. I love that. I do. But anyways, that's my favorite tree, birch tree. There we go. Next.
we covered the tree. I know nothing about trees. Nothing.
It's okay. Willow trees are great too. You should get connected.
Connected with the willow tree? Because when we first sat down, before the recording actually happened, you were talking to me about grounding.
Yes. That is something I learned. I am very interested in learning things that are based in scientific research, but also based in mental research, which is also scientific if you consider yourself connected with the universe or like with messages that could come to you. I don't know, your intuition. But grounding, I learned about that actually with Hatiris, who, you know, is a DJ. Obviously, we're all friends and stuff. Cool DJ guy. He's super chill. And anyways, he was helping me out of a situation, and like we were just like listening to all this YouTube stuff in COVID, like the first year of COVID. Now we're on like year 2 or something. And I learned about grounding, which is basically just like the earth has a frequency. Everything has a frequency, which is why I love music, because we are musical creatures, all of us. Like everything has a frequency. Everything has a rhythm. Everything has a vibration. Anyways, I digress.
No. I'm listening to your connection.
There's lots. I'm such a, like, I think about so many things. I digest so much information. But so grounding, apparently the frequency of the earth, like, that's why they ground telephone poles in the earth, because it literally actually, like, stabilizes the frequency. So when you step barefoot as a human being onto the ground, you stabilize your frequency.
You mean
Scientifically, you
Okay.
stabilize your frequency.
All right.
I don't have anyone I could source and say it. I can see the video in my head,
Okay.
but that would need to be sourced and like expressed. But like your body has a lot of like frequencies inside of it, atoms inside of it moving all the time, and like it's connected to your mind, which is a very like ephemeral space. It can go very far, like energetically, frequencies emitted from your mind. So I feel like when I'm working with music all the time, I'm around all these frequencies. So if I ground on the earth, which is the most stabilized frequency we have, then it's just an energy that goes through my body and actually does kind of I feel like it's aligning some chaotic outlier frequencies inside of me. I don't know, but that's what happens with telephone poles. So
What's your process when you're going to sit down and write a song? How does everything you're just talking to me about right now, how does that factor into the process?
the process of writing a song, I feel like, so I'm not a producer. I don't create instrumentals.
But you're
I don't
writing-
create
you're write-
beats,
you're writing
but I write to
lyrics.
stuff. So I guess it depends. The way I am now is when I wake up in the morning, it's best because I write songs every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's best for me if I wake up, disconnect from my phone, so I don't connect with my phone.
Right.
Now I'm on this like new 2-week journey I've done where I jog and I listen to something spiritual or something about energy. But
Like a podcast or?
something like
Okay.
I guess it's a podcast because people on YouTube have channels,
Right.
and that's a podcast.
Sure.
A channel is a podcast.
If there's
We
a
talk
video,
about
it's
stuff.
a vlog.
Yeah, or if you vlog every week about a topic.
Right.
And I listen to a lot of people who vlog about the law of attraction.
Okay.
And basically, the most nutshell law of attraction facts I can give you is that the thoughts in your head have frequencies,
Right.
and I call it reverb. So you have a reverberation. Since we know reverb stuff, it echoes out, you know, and it has like a texture that goes further into the space. So the thoughts you think do the same things. So you can be thinking things and it'll reverb out around you. So whatever you're thinking is like what is being felt by people around you, or like in the work you're creating. Does that make sense?
I want it to.
It's
I don't practice it myself. That's why for me. So I'm listening to it right now and I'm learning as you're describing it to me.
So like having intentions about things. It's like when you go to create a song and you're like, this song is going to be about my ex or like whatever. The intention is that you're creating it about this ex to emit a feeling that makes people feel either sad or like happy or like something about it. Like they can get into your story, and the only way you can do that is by like having a feeling about it. What was our original question?
I was asking.
This is such a deep topic. It's
No
like
worries.
there's so many levels.
Cool. I was asking what the process was like when you're sitting down to put pen to paper, proverbially. I mean, a thumb and forefinger to screen,
right?
Whatever it might be. Yeah. But when that happens, what's the process like? So like.
My process
It sounds
is
like
I have to.
you go for a run.
Yeah, I have to do that now.
You clear your minds.
Yeah.
And then after while that's happening and you come back,
And then I connect either on Zoom right now with someone, or I connect in person, which is either going to be AJ or like someone around me.
Okay.
But I'll connect on Zoom with someone. Lately, I've been having sessions with people. This feels like synchronicity to me because this is something I've been asking for. I've been intending, I want to work with people who are spiritual like me. And in the past like month, I've been working with people who have wanted to start the session with a meditation, or start the session with a meditation plus an intention. And these sessions have been really powerful for me. It's something about like, I feel like it's something about like being like, okay, today we're going to write a song about good vibes. We're going to channel good vibes together, and we're going to like take a moment to appreciate each other in this moment, which elevates your energy by appreciating things. And then we're going to write something, and we're not going to pressure it, but we're just going to be free form about it and allow it to be perfect. Which is, there's a lot of allowing in everything. Everything we do is honestly, my instinct wants to say it's like a sub-dom relationship. Like everything we do is like you're either in control or you're receiving control from something.
Is that not?
Does that make sense?
I mean,
that's like the most basic way to say it.
50 Shades of writing music?
Yeah.
Right.
You're either in control and directing it, or you're allowing someone to direct you. So I want to set the intention that I'm directing it, or co-directing with the people I'm working with, instead of receiving just like what the filter is of what they want to do. I want to be a co-creator. So that's part of it, is setting the intention with myself or with my partners that I'm working with, that we're going to co-create something great.
Did that start for you? Did it with first session, second session, third session, when you first started getting into this vibe that you're talking about right now? Did it start that way for you, or is this something that you felt that came on after several sessions and went, you know what, moving forward, I would like it if I was able to have this type of connection with the people that I'm pairing with and collaborating with, because if I don't have this energy, if I don't have this transference, this communication, then it's not going to have the output. Is that what happened, or was it like this from the get-go?
I feel like yes.
Okay.
And yes. The only difference between the yeses is that the first few years of the yes was me doing it by myself.
Right.
And now, honestly, within the past month, I've had what I've been calling a download, or you could say a shift, or an evolution in my character and like how I want to be or the things I want to do. So in this past like 2 months, I've had like a moment where I've realized that what I need and what I would like to try is to work with people who are just as spiritual as me. Just to see what that's like, because my whole life before like this past like few months has been like me feeling like I'm the only person in the vibe in my mind who's spiritual, and I don't want to ask the universe or just like be like anyone else has to be like me. I'm just going to be me. But in the past month, I've had like a change in my perspective where I've been like, I would actually like to ask the universe that I would love to work with people who are just as spiritual as me. And since I've done that, I've made that intention that like I would love to work with people like me. I've been working with people who want to set intentions before the session, and I think it's amazing. Like, I think it does make a difference.
We're all hearing those results as well. The collaborations recently with Steve Aoki.
That was cool.
Zeds Dead.
I wasn't on the level yet, though, that I'm on now, that I was doing that. So my everything previous to the past month, with no one has heard my songs that I've made in the past month. So those are all like private at the moment. And I think I'm going to use some of that for my solo stuff because I'm becoming solo now. But before, everything was me thinking that I was the only one who's spiritual, and like not thinking I'm the only one who's spiritual, but like not wanting to ask other people about their spirituality. And everything was more like a job versus like a connection, if that makes sense. Now I've shifted into an energy of connection versus this is a job. And everything before the past month has been like a job. A connection, but like also a job, if that makes sense.
So a few years ago when this first started, did you have, and getting to now, did you have an expectations versus reality moment of it?
I've always had an expectation that what I make is going to resonate with more than 1 million people because it's grounded in a sense of higher level artistry and connection. So I've always had that as my ultimate knowing. Like, I know this is what my purpose is, creating music. So that's been my basis for creating music forever. Even before, when I was shy and then I went to university for something else than music. Like, I knew that was who I was to create music. The only thing that shifted in the past month is that now I'm saying that I want to work with people who feel the same way as me and can also be open about their spirituality, because I really like that.
It sounds almost like an idealistic art scenario. Like very, very open, very super communication, very vibe. When you're talking about it, it sounds very arty.
It is all very arty.
Which is great, because typically when we're talking about music, a lot of the commerce becomes
like
the commerce becomes the primary form of the conversation.
And it's always about business.
Sure.
But you know what you're saying and what I'm connecting with also is that for me in the past month I've reconnected, but also connected deeper with the fact that music needs to be spiritual, like, and whatever spiritual means for you. For me, spiritual means you feel like you're being honest.
But that's what music people are. We're feelings dealers.
We're feelings dealers. Yeah, feeling and being honest in your feelings, because music is really the only space that you can, like, for example, be The Weeknd and write an entire album about having a problem about cheating on someone. and it's the only place that you can actually like express that and have a community about that. And the only reason why I bring that up is because I literally listened to all of his albums yesterday, and his first like 2 or 3, don't quote me, were about like not being able to be monogamous because he needed to focus on himself, and that's what I got from it. So it's kind of like music is the only place that you can be a real vibe, so other people can really connect with you and feel what you're saying. Like, you don't have to lie when you're making music. It's like the only place that you can just be yourself.
Is there a lot of pop stars that you have admiration for, that you look at today, not from the past, but today, currently, if you will, like The Weeknd? I find that, for example, there's not a lot of pop stars that are like The Weeknd, that have that form of honesty. I'll tell you who I absolutely adore is Lil Nas X. I think.
Yeah?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Why?
The music is amazing.
What grabs you? What's the most?
I feel that he is a fearless person, and always a big part of fearlessness is not giving a fuck. And I think that there's sometimes we talked about this, like am I positioned the right way while I'm doing the show?
Yeah,
like
it's all about positioning.
and how we're talking to each other.
Yeah.
I don't want someone listening to the show or watching the show that's going to think to themselves, "Holy fuck, this is really rehearsed."
It's not.
It's yeah, because when it gets to the point of where it's overproduced or something, it becomes
so you feel
synthetic.
like Lil Nas X is like in control of this wild card type of imagery?
I
or
think
like...
there's a he knows it. Firstly, he knows exactly what the fuck he's doing, and creating conversation, for better or for worse, via opinions, is really important when you're doing music, and releasing music, and that goes all the way through from how it begins, to how you'll want to tell people about it, to people hearing it, to actually people showing up and seeing you deliver it.
He's definitely like, he is a demographic of a person who, at this point, is very welcomed to express themselves. And we need people like him to express themselves, because being a black gay man, like, that is, and I just hear it from so many people, that's such a position to be, that like people previous to him could literally get killed for being him. But we have a moment right now where we need someone like him to show us that we can be like him and not have a death sentence because of it, which is what I value about his image so much. That's what I can connect with. I'm not a big connector with like some music. For me, like, his music's not my favorite thing, but I have a different type of music that I like. But what I do recognize is what you're saying is like, he is coming in a moment where he actually can signify for us where we are in society too. Like, we're okay with these things, and you're not gonna die because you're gay. You're not gonna die because you're black. I mean, that's a bigger conversation, and I'm not the perfect person to talk to you about that, but like, he's definitely someone in society right now that is opening doors for a lot of people who need doors open. And that's something I can appreciate so good, which is what's so great about music too, is that it's like the people who become the most relevant, it's just a representation. And even the same thing about like the movies that get put out and like the ads that are going around. It's just a reflection of where we are in society. Like, what are we okay with? What are we wanting to incorporate? And that's what I love about music too, is that like, it's kind of a format where like what gets filtered to the top is almost like, what are we okay with? What are we comfortable with? Through time, like, music has been like super funky, or it's been super housey, or it's been super dancey, or super singer-songwriter. Like, it changes through time, and like, really, honestly, I feel like what's at the top, like, shows you where are we in society. That's, like, the bottom line of that. Which is why I love that you do appreciate Lil Nas X, because, like, it does show a level of where we are in the collective conscious, which is, like, we're okay with these things. We want this. We want to evolve. So what is the next thing? Honestly, what's the next thing? What are we okay with next? I don't know.
How do you want people to see you when they're seeing you? What is the message that you want to give?
That's a cool question. I actually had this thought earlier today in the shower. I was like, what do I want people to think of me?
At that moment, be in the shower.
Being
right.
in the shower. Honestly, like...
The microphone is...
I
It's contagious. The whole world's doing it in the shower. Singing.
That's where you
Everybody.
should sing and not feel judged.
Is that not like the ultimate vocal booth?
That's the ultimate vocal
The
booth.
ultimate vocal booth.
You get some reverb and shit. But if you're judging yourself in the shower, you have a problem. That's the truth. You have a problem that you gotta work through. But I am connecting back with, honestly, like, so I'm 27 now, which is like, I'm an adult. And like, I am connecting back with my 15-year-old self, which I feel like when you're in that age range of like new teenager, you're like, you're having your first connection with your individuality. And you're like, I like these things. I hate these things. Like, I know I'm going to change through time, but like, I genuinely don't like this or do like this. And for me, when I was like 15 to the end of high school, I was like, I want to be an artist who makes artwork based on my own shit that I want to do without genuinely giving a fuck about what anyone else thinks. But yes, I care about what other people think, but only about their reaction. I just want to make what's true about me. And like, I'm actually finally reconnecting with that message right now. 27, just had my birthday in August. At the end of 2021, year, 2 of COVID, I'm like, I want to be myself right now. Like, I don't want to be trying to make money or trying to fit in or trying to do these things. Like, I just want to be me because that's what I'm supposed to do.
You've had a killer moment during the pandemic. It seems like...
I've worked with some cool people, that's for sure.
For sure, popular music happened. I mean, millions of plays are still happening right now as we're sitting together, you know, on, I don't know how many different apps.
It's true. It's true.
It's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you. It's sometimes hard to connect with that gratitude when you're going through it. But thank you. I do appreciate that.
You know, I'll digress real quick for a second. I mean, it's still on theme for what we're doing, you know. But one of the things that I've talked a lot about is that I think for music, if you're behind the scenes making, performing, delivering, producing, the aspect, the rise is such an incredible time. But
interesting.
But at the same time, it's a super challenge to stop and smell the roses. I'm being metaphorical.
Yes.
Unless you
I
like
do
flower.
love smelling
Okay,
roses.
I
do
just stop myself.
and
We
smell
talked
the
about
flowers.
trees for a moment. I think we're going to talk about flowers as well.
I do stop for those. That's true.
I don't know if I did a lot of that. It's one of the beautiful moments of the show, and there's been some instances as well. I've had guests say, "Do you remember that time that you were doing that?" And I'm like,
topic on time.
I fucking don't. Like, I don't remember it at all. And it's not because I was always partying my brains out or not.
We just classify things as important or like super important or like kind of whatever.
Also, there's a bit of a blur and joining that's happening simultaneously. You've got the blur because everything's happening so quickly. It's all happening back to back, and because it's all happening back to back, it kind of gets joined.
Well, you're not watching yourself from the outside, also.
You know, I've said it as well. I think obviously everything is clearer in hindsight. If I could have had somebody that was just with me, but at the same time, I didn't want to pose, be like, okay, all of a sudden the camera's on. I'm ready. You know, I'll just be like, just stand back 5 fucking feet and don't communicate with me all day. Hit me back at the end of the month when it's all been shot, and then I could play it back. If I would have archived a lot of this stuff, a lot of these moments, I could have pulled from it, I feel. And not just for a form of something professional or for this show or anything, just for myself, so that I can remember. Because I felt like when I was doing so much and it was all happening back to back, that a lot of stuff got blurred. And then
I understand that.
I was getting down on myself about it because I thought to myself,
Because you get blurry.
did I not appreciate what was happening?
I feel that.
And it becomes, then I start thinking to myself, why was I doing more? Well, you were doing more because, well, I didn't want to be fucking broke. I'll start there.
Which is a noble thing to do.
Sure.
Putting money in your bank is a noble thing to do.
So what is art versus commerce for you? Do you find that this is a constant conversation that you're having?
Actually, I wish I could quote the person that I listened to recently, but like, I think that everyone is capable of having a perfect balance between both. And I think that the superpower, which isn't a superpower to make it seem unattainable, but like the superpower that we all have inside of us is the capability to feel both. You feel creative and inspired, and that fuels the commerce side of things. Like, it's kind of both of the things. And I think there is the acknowledgement to be able to feel both of them, to invite that into your life, versus feeling stressed out about the commerce or stressed out about the creative, like letting them coexist. And I kind of feel like that's a personal journey for each person, because like I listen to people on YouTube who help me get into the moment to feel both the quote unquote burning passion, creativity, and the commerce side of things, to fuel them both at the same time. But like, everyone has different things that makes them feel that way. Some people it's smoking weed. Some people it's going to a rave and then the next day they're inspired. Some people it's like never being alone and always being with people. But everyone has something different that makes them feel that coexisting energy of, I'm super passionate right now, and I'm also knowing that this is going to create me revenue.
When you finish a song, do you share it right away with your friends or family, or do you sit on it for a second and do some reflecting?
I do sit on things. I feel like I have to reflect on stuff. It actually kind of, I'm working on this, but it kind of drives me crazy that people I work with show the things that we have in a demo process immediately, because I kind of want to have a relationship with the stuff that I make for, I think, and this is the first time I've ever said this out loud, but I think I want to have a relationship with my music for at least a month before it goes to anyone else. I want it to be mine, and I want to think about it by myself, or considering people's opinions within that month, but I don't want to start pitching it right after I make it, because I feel like I need some time to connect with it, to realize these parts are working, these parts aren't working, and I feel like this. But when something gets pitched immediately, I'm just like, yo, you just like showed me in my first month of working out. Like, you didn't show me when I was done. Like, and I'm just starting my journey of working out. So I'm kind of just like, I'm not going to start posting my body online. Like, you know, like,
it's a graduated effort. You need the 6 months.
I need some time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that with music, I need at least a few weeks because I'm so busy. I can't listen to something even the day that I make it and it's done. I have shit to do every single day that I need at least a month to circle back on it and be like, okay, this is who I am right now, and I connect with this, or I don't, and this needs to happen. But like, to just let things go to other people immediately, it actually drives me crazy.
It feels to me like electronic music has stations on the live scene. There's the bar, the bartenders and the barbacks. There's the DJ booth, maybe the light guy, the sound guy, the DJ performer. Where does the vocalist fit in a live setting that's been popularized by 2 turntables and a mixer?
So in my experience, playing at a club, a closed venue, maybe max 3,000 people, you're gonna go into the wait, okay. Max 3,000 people
Big
is
club.
on, like, that's a big club. I guess I'm spoiled because I played for 30,000 people, 40,000 people. Like, I'm spoiled. But I am here to tell you that it feels the same as playing for 3,000 people as for 200 people.
If the energy in the 200-person room is given, yes.
Playing
I agree.
for 30,000 people, 20, 10, 3, 200, it's the same feeling. And the thing that I've come to is the reason why I care about intention setting and spirituality and taking the time to do that, even though sometimes it feels really ridiculous and hard to like take an hour to be like, I'm gonna be like, I'm amazing, I can write a song today, and say those things that feel weird sometimes when you're trying to program your mind. But like, doing that is so important in every single show you do. And I know that because I had a few shows in front of like over 30,000 people, and there was one of those shows I didn't set an intention for myself that I actually felt so disconnected. And to me, this is just all mind programming, which goes into my understanding of things where like, we're all aware about mind programming. Everything you do will program something, it has an intention. It has a program. So I want to make this general. Like, the program of the phone is that you are on it and you look at things all day and you potentially buy things. And like, the program of like setting an intention is like, I'm going to feel connected to the crowd when I go out. I'm going to feel in the moment so I can be passionate. And if I find that if I don't set that intention, then I just feel so disconnected. And it doesn't matter if it's 200 people or 30,000 people. Like, I have to get my mind in the game to be connected. Otherwise, 200 people can feel like 10,000 people.
Easily.
But honestly, a 200 crowd looks exactly the same as a 30,000 crowd because you're at eye level with people. I've never been like performing in the sky, so I've never seen that. But I'm assuming it would feel the same.
I don't like sky performances.
Have you done that?
I mean, sort of. I mean, I've been up on scaffolding or in a booth that's elevated.
That's
like
cool.
a lot of the old clubs. Like, it's funny because it's been. That's why I asked you this question about where you thought the vocalists fit in. But a lot of old clubs, for example, DJ booths were stuck in the corner and were really shitty, or somewhere super high with some treacherous staircase you had to climb to or swing to on a vine. I've made this joke before, like Tarzan, you know, and then someone else is swinging your record crate on the second swing. Once you've made it, you know.
Well, that makes me want to say what I feel like maybe my original point was, is that it's all a performance. And you can have the pure revealing for the general public, and everyone is aware, you must be aware. Everything is a live performance because you are physically there in real time, standing there IRL, doing the shit, being the energy. But you have to perform your music to where it sounds good for people. And that's not always going to be IRL. Like, some parts of your music aren't. But you adding your real person self there, that's unprogrammed. But like, the music may be programmed, but like with a singer performing, it's like you're really there not just to sing your song or to DJ your song, but you're there to feel the people, to connect with the people there. The reason why we are there and not just on Zoom or like on the cyberspace, on the internet, is because we want to physically, energetically feel something. We want to feel something to the people we're there with. You want to look into people's eyes, or even not. There's a knowing, and I keep talking about this knowingness, but there is an invisible, energetic knowing that a connection that you get with people by creating music and performing. And so performing, having a vocalist there is just to add to the connection to people, to the performance, to the entertainment, because music is entertainment, and it like is also spells and like things like that. It's like it's intentional. Everything about music is intentional.
When you were coming up, did you hear any tales or generalized warnings that were broadcast to you?
About what?
I don't know. Was there something that, for example, you went from this studio to this venue to a different studio to a different venue, and then you would hear things. Someone say, "Oh, beware X, Y, Z," and you'd be like,
know the answer
"Oh,
to that."
okay." I even.
There's definitely, you know what? My best advice about that is that there are warnings on everything you do. There's warnings about smoking cigarettes, but you still do it because you like smoking. Or like, there's warnings about smoking weed. There's warnings about wearing this fabric because it might make you sweat. There's warnings about everything. I have had warnings about working with people. And in my mind has gone to, I heed your warning. I understand. I listen to your warning. I appreciate what you're saying to me, but I need to experience this myself. My advice about that is that if more than 2 people tell you something about someone or some situation or some company, you should listen. Because and not only just listen and then forget about it, put it in the storage of your mind, but like listen to it and recall that information. Because I mean, if someone's burned the bridges with like more than one person, that might just be a pattern. And like, we're people, so we're all about patterns too. Like, we follow the pattern because we go down the path because we see there's a path. You know, and so it's like, instead of following the path with some people or some businesses that have maybe wrecked a few people, like, heed the warning and like keep your distance. I do feel like it's good to keep your distance with some stuff, but it's all about your morals and also where you are in life. Like, do you need to learn the lesson, or like, have you already learned the lesson?
All right, maybe some a little bit more fun. What about the idea? Yeah, well, it's a tough question, but I mean, everyone's going to have a different answer. You know, sometimes you're right. I agree with you. Sometimes there's some flames that gotta get.
You gotta take the warnings.
Okay.
Gotta take the warning signs.
What about a rider?
What?
A rider detail, something that you have to have when you're traveling. You know, for someone it's strictly green M&Ms in a crystal bowl.
Rider information?
Do you have something that you have to have at every show, regardless of where you are? That's got to be with you. A token, even.
Honestly, no.
You're just a fucking bottle of water, microphone. Put me on
Just
stage.
give me some water, and I'm good. For me, performing a show, I am completely sober. I can't smoke weed. I'm sure I could smoke a cigarette because that's just nicotine. You don't really feel anything. It's just kind of a waste. But like, I can't smoke weed because I'll dissociate from the present moment, and I can't drink because I will also dissociate from the present moment, and I might forget something, and the worst thing you could do is forget something. So I actually have to be sober to perform. Otherwise, I feel like I could forget something, which is my worst fear.
Being up on stage, just blanking out.
Yeah, I'm forgetting. Like,
having the microphone.
jeez.
It's just floating.
You're just like, whoa, this microphone's 5 feet away from my face. What's happening? But you know what? That brings me back to the point of live performance, vocal performing live with you is for the performance. It does not matter. I am here to say it doesn't matter if the vocal is pre-recorded or not, because the truth is, it's all about how you perform and interact with the crowd. Are you really there, or are you not?
You're going live when you're performing.
I am going live. I also do have pre-recorded backups with me.
Right.
Because you need that.
You have to have the
Everyone
pre-recorded backup.
has
Yeah,
that.
of course. That's not
You need to have that. It's noticeable when you're not participating.
Sure.
But the whole point of the live performance is that you have found a moment to be present with the thousands of people in front of you, and you are really there doing your social justice, which is providing real-time good energy to people. That is honestly, I think, the like deepest meaning of why we perform, to provide social justice to people, to provide real energetic frequencies, to like change the frequencies of people around us. That's the bare minimum. Like, that's the bare minimum, you know? Like, we're not always connected to that, and it's okay, but that's what we want to do. And that's what I think. Like, right?
This has been Utility Room with Michaela.
Bare minimum.
Maybe the toughest question I'm going to ask for the show. Also the last question for time together. You've been absolutely awesome. I feel like I need to walk around on some grass barefoot and send someone a note written from some birch. 3 songs that are absolutely amazing to sing along to. What would these 3 songs be? Not your song, unless you want to include one of yours. No, I'm not. I mean,
True.
I was thinking to myself, inside, how to really get inside your head at this moment, and that if we were able to catch some of your vibes, your feelings of what you would want to sing along to, we probably.
What I want to sing along
we'd know
to.
Michaela.
The first song that came to me was BB Rexa, Martin Garrix, In the Name of Love. That song is amazing. I love that song because BB Rexa has like a dynamic range in her voice. So she's high and she's low all throughout the song, which is very interesting. And also Martin Garrix has such a like chill and then euphoric atmosphere to his music, which I just love. I also love Alive by MGMT because that song is so good. I just want to feel alive. Like literally anyone at any point of time and space in the universe needs to listen to MGMT because they're great. Don't you agree? MGMT, you have to, okay? If you don't, it's fine. But like, MGMT is so good. They are so good. They were like the beginning of like trippy meets dance music. Do you agree?
Rob's with you.
Thank you. Yes, MGMT is tapped into the moment. As soon as I listen to them, and they say words that are like, I just want to feel alive. Like, so good. And, okay, third song. Maybe, okay, the name that just came to me is Licky Lee Rivers, because that song is like a beautiful blend of experimental and indie and dance music. And I really like experimental music because experimental is experimental and it's like not following any boundary. It just weirdly is itself. And Licky Lee has such a beautiful, like ephemeral female voice. It's so pretty. I recommend those 2 songs. All on my playlist, MKLA Mood.
Okay, actually, I was while you were talking, and it's funny you brought that up because I was going to say, what portal should we use if we want to jump into some Michaela right now?
I mean, like, you can find me on Spotify as MKLA.
MKLA.
And you know what I look like, so this is me. So you can find me. In my pictures right now, I have red hair, but soon it won't be like that. But my personal playlist is called MKLA Mood because I'm moody. And, like, I have moods. But all of these songs, I listen to and it gets me in the mood. So that's why I created that playlist. Over 100 followers. I'm happy about that.
Wow.
Like, we'll keep going. I just got to keep being honest about what I like, you know? That's what music is about, being honest.
I think it's one of the reasons why also that your social media seems to be so active and very happening, and that there's a lot of response. You've got the great call and answer happening upon your social media, and it's because it feels like you.
I do try to be
if you're a
me.
million miles away and you jumped onto Instagram, we're getting
It's
killed.
like I've experimented, which I think it's important. Everyone should experiment. Put out different type of content that you feel like you like or don't like. See how it does. And then you'll know. The posts that get like half the engagement, maybe they don't resonate with people. And that's fine. Just curate more content, like the content that does the best for you. And that's cool because you're speaking to an audience. Of course, you're building an audience, so you should experiment always with what feels true to you. Like you say, I want to say this message or tell this story because it's honest. Honestly, the honesty is always what resonates with people. Like when I feel genuine and honest about the message I'm typing out, I get the response I'm looking for. When I feel like I'm just posting just to post, I don't get the response. And this is all on my whole theme of a topic, which is energy and frequency. Like what you feel and what you feel while you're doing something is what other people feel. And that is the bare facts.
Well, I
Bare
feel
facts.
extremely grateful that you came and joined us here in the most underground room in house.
Utility room.
Utility room. And all y'all that are watching at home, on your phone, iPad, screen, car, or in the washroom, wherever you might be, we're truly appreciating you and think that you're totally awesome sauce. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that make the room go boom. And we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in.